Takes everybody from live from Cancun. You guys know me. I am Born Rebel, aka Zen. We have a dope conversation today. We have a dope conversation. He's actually already here. And just bring him up. Before I bring him up, you guys know me. You guys know what we're doing with Purple and Gold Mines. We want to be able to have conversations with people with different perspectives. And I think when it comes to fandom, when you're rooting for a team or rooting for a player, it's so easy to get stuck in a bubble. And it's almost like a form of tribalism. And where you're not really willing to hear another person's perspective. It's automatically dismissed. That's not what we're about here. We bitched and complained over and over and over again because we were upset with how the voting went down. So instead of just bitch and complain all day, we're going to have a conversation. We said, hey, let's try. I looked up all the voters, and it's not even a thing where I'm speaking with someone that I think that they're wrong. I just want to know a different perspective. I want to see how the Lakers, I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to see how the team, how individual players, how our organization is looked at from throughout the league. Because guess what, folks? Just because we think something doesn't mean it's right. Just because we think something doesn't mean it's wrong. Right? So if you guys can do me a favor, please share this tweet. We have Mr. Steve Mcgehee here. I'm going to bring him up in a minute. It's going to be a dope conversation. And folks, I am going to ask questions. I'm going to ask the questions that you guys would want me to ask, but I'm not here to get him in a gotcha moment. I'm here to just have a real conversation with him. Mojito, his punk ass doesn't believe in democracy, and you see that he's not here. He's probably, storming a government building right now. But that's just Mojito. If someone wants to tell him that that he needs to get his ass in here, hit him up. But please share the tweet. This is going to be a fun one. NBA Finals is tomorrow. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but I really want to get this conversation started with Steve. I'm going to invite him up to the stage. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun conversation. Steve, I know this is the first time using the platform. You have to accept. I just sent you a stage invite, so accept it when you can, sir. Folks, it's in the playback chat. If you guys can retweet, help spread the word. Tell the guys that's in those group chats that live all day and complain about voting, they might want to be part of this conversation. So trying to get hey Steve, how are you? Can you hear me? You might have to you're on mute. You're on mute. So if you're using a laptop, you should see an icon bottom of the screen with a microphone. Yeah, but you're on mute right now. So we'll get the technical difficulties sorted out. I can hear you.
All right, there we go.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm technically challenged, so bear
with me. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, it's perfectly. Hey, you know what? Look, you're technically challenged, and the team that I root for can't get out the damn first round. So we all have our, faults.
Yeah, I hear you there. My brother's a big Lakers fan. Father Time is hurting the Lakers right now. They got to get a little younger. That's just my little quick 2 cents.
You don't say. You don't say. Well, you know what? Let's get into it. And first of all, thank you thank you so much for joining. Like, we truly appreciate it. I sent you a DM. You responded right away. Thank you so much. And really, this definitely means a lot. I want to just get into it. I just want to hop into it. Before we get to the voting, want to ask about, you cover Oklahoma City Thunder. What do you guys finished first in the West, lost in the second round? What did you think of your season?
Better than expected. They just missed the playoffs last year by one win when they lost up in Minnesota in the play-in. Nobody expected them to tie Denver for the best record in the Western Conference. That was pretty amazing. I had my doubts with Chet Holmgren coming off that foot injury, the surgery.
Yeah.
And then all he did was play in all 82 games and prove me wrong. And I'm with Mark Daignault at the exit interviews a couple of weeks ago. Said this is the lowest level for Chet Holmgren. He's only going to get better, and I believe that. And I think that's the truth with this basketball team right now. They just put the basketball out there and had the guys they had, and let's see where we're at. And they weren't good enough to beat Dallas. They were an eyelash away from forcing a Game 7 back in Oklahoma City against Dallas, but Shea fouls P.J. Washington Jr. in the corner, and they went at the free throw line. But it was a great season for the Thunder, and I think the sky's the limit for this team. And I think a lot of GMs and a lot of executives out there know that Sam Presti has an arsenal of number one picks in his pocket, and he has a little bit of cap room this year, and he's got to make sure he gets some other guys re-signed as well. But they can definitely make improvements in the offseason if they choose to do so. And that's a team teams have to look at moving forward. That doesn't mean they're going to win it. Dallas looks really good right now and probably next year. Houston's on the rise. San Antonio got taller and got better, and they have 2 picks, I think, in the top 8. Popovich is not there to lose. He's there to win another ring. So the West is going to be loaded.
I'm with you. I am with you. You brought up Chet. I want to ask you this, all right? This was his rookie year. Obviously, he spent the first year on the shelf with the injury. His rookie year came at the time of Wemby's rookie year. Similar stature, close in height, close in skill set. Do you think Chet will be truly appreciated for what he brings, considering from a Laker perspective, from outside looking in, that he's always going to get compared to Wemby?
Yeah. And that's really not fair because Wemby's on a stage by himself, in my opinion. So Chet doesn't want to – neither one of them want to be in that me versus you rivalry moving forward. They addressed that several times in this past season. It's right. It's not being me versus him. It's Thunder versus Spurs. So
very true.
I think they both handled it well. But Chet's going to be Chet. Victor's going to go on to do great things, and Chet's not going to be looking over his shoulder and seeing what Victor's doing. Chet's just going to worry about what he can do.
Understood. All right. So something happened towards, some funny stuff was happening with the Lakers towards the end of the regular season during the play-in tournament, where we finished the season as the 8th seed, and
which may have not been the 7th seed. May have been better. Who knows?
You
got to get in. You got to get in.
Well, here's the funny part. I'm glad you brought that up because this is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We finished the season as the 8th. We had the play-in situation, the play-in game with the Pelicans. We win. We go up to the 7th. We deal with Denver. Mm-hmm. Now there were a lot of discussions, a lot of rumbling among the fan base, group chats, even made national media that should the Lakers maybe tank that first game and then try to tank it so we can go against you guys as the 8th seed in the first round. How do you think that series would have, if we would have took that route, which I disagree with? You play to win. You don't.
Yeah, you play to win. You don't mess with the basketball gods and say, "Hey, let's lose this one, but make sure we win the next one." Well, how do you? There's no guarantees you're going to win the next one. You could have an awful shooting night. Next thing you know, you're not even in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So they did the right thing by get the win. Let's get it going. But
how do you think that series would have played out, though?
I would say the Lakers would probably have won it because of the height. I like the Thunder, but I don't have my Thunder glasses on. I was there in LA when they played them twice, and I saw the outcome. That obviously what happens in the regular season doesn't mold over to the playoffs, but that the height and the athleticism and the wingspan from the Lakers gave the Thunder some problems. The Thunder would have to have shot extremely well to go 7 or win that series, but just basing it off those regular season games, even the one after Christmas, LeBron was red hot in Oklahoma City, and then the 2 out in LA, the Thunder tried, but they just couldn't get over the hump against them. It just didn't look like a very good matchup for the Thunder, and so I think Oklahoma City got lucky, in my opinion, that they avoided the Lakers.
Well, okay, I respect the honesty. What roster needs the front office need to address for this offseason?
For the Thunder?
For the Thunder, yes.
Oh, I said it after the loss in Dallas. They need to get taller. It seemed like a lot of things were going over the top against the Thunder, but it's kind of funny that Oklahoma City's last points this season were alley-oop from Shea to Holmgren to give them the lead.
So what happened?
But those were few and far between. The Mavericks with Lively and Gafford,
right?
And they just went over the top on the Thunder. And there's only so much Chet can do, and Jalen Williams out of Arkansas, a good second-round pick, can do. They need one more guy to kind of help them inside.
So what happened with Biyombo and Muscala?
Yeah, Muscala. That's a good question. Obviously, they thought they couldn't do much.
Right.
I thought Bismack would be able to do something. That's kind of why they got him, I thought. But Bismack and Muscala were not a factor in the playoffs, especially in that Dallas series, of course. So that's a good question there. But Dallas won the trade deadline. Oklahoma City did not. Let's put it that way.
I respect the honesty. Where do you rank Sam Presti among NBA executives?
Top 5. Top 5. It's not an exact science. He hasn't hit on everybody. Chet was pretty obvious at number 2. He could have took Jabari Smith Jr.
Right.
I still believe he would have taken Chet had they had the first pick in the draft. But he just seemed like Chet Holmgren seemed like a Sam guy. Somebody could be a shot blocker, can also step outside and knock down some threes at that height, which is unheard of. And also, dribble the ball down the court as well. He's top 5. He's missed on a few, but who hasn't? Darius Baisley, they moved on from him. Trey Mann, they traded. Poku, they traded away. He was great. We got Domantas Sabonis, and that helped him get Paul George. That was a good draft. Cason Wallace was a good pickup, 6'2" guard out of Dallas. They could have used Lively probably more than Cason Wallace, but I think down the stretch, Cason Wallace will be just fine for the Thunder. Great defender. Another guy who played in all 82 games coming out of Kentucky. So Sam's done a pretty good job. Ousmane Dieng was their 3rd lottery pick a couple of years ago. He's still, G League Finals MVP. Jury's still out on him, 6'10", 6'11", Frenchman. Maybe his best is yet to come. Maybe that height can help them out starting next year. But so far, what he does in the G League and what he does in the NBA are not meshing. Not just yet, but maybe another offseason. He's only 21 years old, so room to grow there. So maybe Ousmane Dieng. But Sam is Definitely a top 5. And when it comes to trading, too, great trades. Great trades. The Paul George trade with the Clippers was tremendous. And they had the leverage because they knew Kawhi wanted Paul George. We know that story. So that was a great trade. Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that. That was me.
Okay. I was worried I hit something.
Oh, no. It was actually my fan falling on my laptop. So I'm in Las Vegas. It is biblical how hot.
115 degrees.
Yes. So my fan, but I appreciate your patience. Now brought you here for a reason. Wanted to talk about the voting because now give you a little backstory. As the voting was coming out day by day. Now, our group, Purple and Gold Minds, it is a collective of diverse opinions. Our common denominator is our love for the Lakers. Outside of that, we did not create this group because we agreed. We created this group because just our natural organic opinions led to great discourse, and it's something that we take pride in. I'm of the belief that now, as the voting was going on, my whole thing is, okay, even if I don't agree with someone's vote, my first question is, okay, give me a reason why someone could vote this way. And we looked at the metrics, Rudy Gobert, he won Defensive Player of the Year. And, he's the best defensive player on the best defensive team. MVP, you can justify, there's ways to justify for Jokic.
That was a tough one. I mean, it could have been Luka.
Could have been
Luka. Had Luka had Gafford and PJ Washington sooner,
right?
It probably would have been Luka.
Who was your first place vote for MVP?
It was Shea. And Nikola Jokic was a close second. And call me a homer, but here's what with Shea.
No, I'm not calling you a homer. That's why I appreciate the different perspective. What's the justification for Shea for your first place vote?
Last year, he finished 5th in the voting, averaging 31.5. Took a major step up. Missed the playoffs by 1.
Okay.
He finished 5th because they didn't make the playoffs. Well, he did exactly. He was a little bit better this year, and they were the number 1 seed in the West.
Okay.
So he led that team to the number 1 seed in the West. Best,
they
lost to the Spurs. Oklahoma City lost at the Spurs, and so did Denver. That lost, Denver losing the Spurs gave them the 1 seed, but hey, they still got the 1 seed.
Absolutely.
And they did it with Shea sideline for like the last. He missed like 5 out of the last 8 games with the quad, a quad injury. But they obviously missed him because they lost at least 3 games in a row. It was it seems so long ago. It was like 2 months ago. It seems like
understood. And I appreciate you going back through your thought process. I want to ask you this. Now, Kendrick Perkins, former player, former OKC Thunder player, he has a vote. He says that he is ashamed of himself for voting for Rudy Gobert. Now, I'm a very literal person. If you tell me what something is, I'm going to take it for what that is. Now, I look at these awards as regular season awards. And the reason why I look at it that way is because that's exactly what the NBA tells us, that these are regular season awards. There's no postseason that's factored in. I have 2-pronged question. 1, how do you feel about it being strictly a regular season award? And 2, does the performance of a person who wins the award, does their playoff performance, if it goes sour, do you feel it taints the award they had just won?
I think it does by fault, but it's just a regular season award. And I'm okay with that because we'll stay local here in Oklahoma City. Let's go with Lou Dort. Lou Dort just missed second team. I put him on my second team. Well, Lou Dort, we know what he can do here in the state of Oklahoma, but worldwide, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of playoff national TV games for people to see what he can do. Did he completely stop Luka? No. Did he make his life difficult? Yes. So I think what he did in the playoffs this year is going to help him land on first and second team next year, as long as he keeps it up, and I would imagine he would. So it's easy to look at like, wow, Lou Dort or this guy did great in the playoffs. I can't believe he didn't make first or second team. I mean, those are regular season accomplishments. For me, it was tough. I was so close to putting Victor Wembanyama as the Defensive Player of the Year. He was that impactful because and he was just incredible, and he's going to win it moving forward. I think this may be the last year Rudy wins it. We'll see what happens. But Rudy,
all right, quick question. This is an odd question.
Yeah.
Steve, what's your favorite superhero?
I don't know if I have one. Maybe Batman.
Okay, so let me ask you this: does AD need to have $1 billion? Does he need a Batmobile? Does he need to I don't know, have endless fights against? Well, the fights against the Joker didn't really turn out well. But okay, does he need a damn cape to get a Defensive Player of the Year vote? Because you and many of your counterparts, Rudy, Victor, Bam, Steve, how do you? I can understand Rudy. I can
understand Victor. Victor was incredible.
I can understand Victor because he led the league in stocks. He led the league in stocks per game. Incredible. So I can even understand, because it's not even to agree. I can understand Rudy, best defensive player on the best defensive team. I can understand Victor because he is guarding anywhere from he's guarding the perimeter all the way down to the basket. I can understand it. Steve, help me out. I don't understand Bam. And I'm not sure if AD needs to be a Cape Crusader or grow wings. I don't know. Why? Please.
AD, his last 2-3 months, he was outstanding, correct? Was he good?
He was outstanding the whole season. But yes.
Also, but I thought he was better towards the last 2 or 3 months as opposed to the first 2 months of the year. Is that a false statement? I'm on the outside looking in LA.
Yeah.
I know the last 2 or 3 months he was incredible.
He did play better, but he was consistent throughout the entire season.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, what is missing? What is AD not doing from the national media? Now, we live in a bubble. When I watch Anthony Davis, I am rooting for his success. I also watch every game that he plays. I can't say that for every other team, so I am biased. Just wondering, national folks with different.
For me, I'll be honest. I thought had he had the 2 or 3 months he finished up with, had he been like that all year long, I think he would have been first team. Was he first team or not? I don't have the voting in front of me.
Anthony Davis finished second team. How close
was it? How close was he to first?
Are you talking about all NBA?
Yeah. No, defense.
Hold on. Let me pull up his defensive team. Hold on. I got Defensive Player of the Year. Here's
defense was tough. That was one of the tougher ones to decide. First and second team. You could have flipped a coin on a lot of those guys.
I don't. Okay, so I'm pulling up defensive team, and I am going. Okay, and I'm just gonna read off your first team. And I'm going to read off like your second team. So your first team, you had Rudy, Victor, Bam. You put Jalen Suggs, Herb Jones. That's your first team.
Yep.
Steve, Steve, help me out. Steve. I can't see it. I can't see.
Who would you take
Suggs,
out? Who would you
Say it
take
again?
out? Who would you take out to put in AD?
First, I would take out Bam, or I would take out Suggs. I would take out Herb Jones. I can understand. I can understand and be convinced for Rudy and Victor, but that number 3 slot, I'm putting AD. I would put Bam at 4.
I had AD at second team, correct?
I'm about to let me look at your second team.
And I think I had him all NBA as well.
48. You put Jaden McDaniels, Derek White. You put AD is your second team.
You know what? Derek White almost went first before AD. Derek White's a great defender. That was a tough one. It really was. But I'll stand by my picks there.
Absolutely.
My thing is, if I thought Davis, had he done that all season long, maybe you said he did, but maybe I missed that. But what he did the last 2 or 3 months was outstanding. But I didn't see that in late October and November. Maybe I'm missing something, or December.
Do we when the decision is coming? Do we now? Being fair, Lakers hovered around the 10th seed for the majority of the season.
Yeah,
got up to 9th, finished the regular season at 8th. Is
because
team
of
success
AD.
being factored in?
AD was a big factor of that.
Look, without Anthony Davis, AD is our most impactful player.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say, well, he's our most impactful player. He is our best defender, and it's not even close. Our second best defender on the team is Jared Vanderbilt, but he was out for pretty much all the season, damn near all season. As Laker fans, and I'm not sure this is how us Laker fans look at AD. We look at how it is when he's on the floor and when he's off the floor. We have seen, was it a season ago, where he picked up Steph Curry at the 3-point line at a game in crypto. He can pick up 1 through 5. When he's off the floor, it's a damn layup line. There's no resistance whatsoever. Played 76 games,
Which is good.
I think he beat the allegation.
Is that the most he's played in a while?
Yes, that's actually the most games he's played in his career.
Yeah.
The most games he's played in his career. I think maybe one season he had 77, but that was like early on in Pelicans in New Orleans. Yeah. But as a Laker, by far, most games he's played in the season. There's been times that he went down, and it's like, crap, here we go, 4 to 6 weeks, and 2 minutes later he got right back up. So that part, like, now I'm not sure if we're looking at it through a good lens. That's something that if maybe that's something that Laker fans need to acknowledge and address, including me, that, just because the rest of the team is crap on defense, and folks, I'm right. Just because the rest of our starters are shitty on defense, that doesn't necessarily lead to a first, second, or third place vote or being on all defensive team. But Steve, like I said, I can't.
How close was he to first team? Was it real close, or was it kind of?
So this is the part that's hold on, let me get the final results. Hold on, let me get the final results. NBA. Because I know he. Hold on, ALLNBA defense. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm navigating through so many different spreadsheets.
I'm trying to look them up too.
Yeah. Now, Here we go. Okay, I know how to navigate through this. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Appreciate everyone being in here. Shout out to you all.
He had 4 first place votes, and
Right.
10 second, and 33 third place.
He finished 4th for DPOY, which, yeah, he finished 4th for DPOY.
Herb Jones was right behind him, but a distant 5th.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the part we're kind of struggling with. That's the part I'm kind of struggling with. Where he finished 4th. He finished 4th, but he doesn't make first team. Did he make all defensive first team?
I'm looking for that. I got player of the year right now.
Okay. Yeah, for defensive player of the year, he finished 4th.
Yeah, he was first team all defense.
So he finished 1st with first team all defense. Okay,
Bam,
that's consistent. That's consistent with the DPOY because he finished top 5 in the voting for the individual award. So it makes sense that he's on the first team all defense.
Most important though, second team all NBA.
Yes, he made second team all NBA. LeBron made 3rd. What was your thought process for your first team?
First team, let's Giannis. What do I have? Giannis?
You had Jokic. You had Giannis. You had looking at it right now. Hold on. You had Jokic. You had Giannis. You had Luka. SGA. And I think you put Tatum. Yeah.
And that's exactly how it finished. It was close with Jalen Brunson, though. Jalen Brunson came on, and when that guy leaves the floor, the Knicks are not the same. They're not the same team. That's how impactful he is.
Steve, I'm in a minority. I think Jalen Brunson is a top 10 player.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't get more. I'm surprised he didn't get more MVP votes based upon the criteria, based upon the injuries, based upon the level of regular season success of the team. I'm surprised he didn't get more first place vote. But that leads me to this question for MVP. What does MVP mean to you?
Probably a lot of people say it's the best player on the best team, and I've never been with that, but it's got to be somebody, the best player on a team that's relevant. You can't be 20 and 40. To me, that's the most valuable player, a guy who does it all. That can not just a one-sided guy that can just shoot and score, but can play defense as well. It's got to be someone that's multi-talented, can play at both ends, is a team leader, and got to be on a good team.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for. Victor Wembanyama, exceptional player. Just they need more, but eventually he's going to get his. If the Spurs keep building up, he's going to get his MVP stature if they get in the playoffs anytime soon. He's going to be up there in the voting because he's impactful and he can do things on both ends of the floor.
Okay, I respect that. I got a question from you for you in the chat from Purple Fan 24. She asked, "How do you decide between the defensive anchor on a team, say over a defensive guard?"
It's tough. Block shots for AD, Suggs steals. You're still stealing a possession. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
You're still taking away a possession. If you block a shot and you get the ball and go the other way, you just took away their possession. If you steal the ball, you took away their possession. It's block shot and steals, in my mind, are the same thing.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the voters, I want to kind of shift to the voters, like yourself. How long have you been a voter?
This is the first year, and it took me a while to. I didn't like return the email right away. I'm like, yep, I want in, because I know of the stress it can bring. I know some people that used to be voters that don't do it anymore
What's
because
the
of
process?
just you've been there, done that. This was my 9th season covering a team home and away.
Okay.
And I covered them obviously before that when I moved here in Oklahoma City in 09. So I got here right when the Thunder started. I missed the bad Thunder year, the first season they got here from Seattle. And then my first year here, they're taking the Lakers to 6 games in 09. So I got real fortunate with that. And then in 2015 and 16, our management decides KD's last year. I'm like, let's cover these guys home and away. So I went to over 100 games in the 15-16 season. When you throw in a couple, back then they were playing 7 preseason games a year. And then the Thunder would go to 7 games with the Warriors.
Right.
In Western Conference Finals. So, from mid-October to late May, you're watching a lot of basketball. So, yeah, I even traveled during the pandemic. I was one of the few reporters that traveled during that COVID year when they were barely letting people in the stands. So it's 9 years of doing it. Kind of been there, done that. People don't agree with all my voting, but everyone has an opinion. And I love the game of basketball. I grew up watching Bill Walton in 1977 win a national.
Rest in peace.
Blazers. Rest in peace. Yes, and so I grew up a Blazers fan because of Bill Walton. I used to always go back to their old arena, Veterans Memorial Coliseum. It's still open sometimes. It's a walk back in time. You walk in, you can still visualize them celebrating the championship there on the floor.
Wow.
Watch Larry Bird and Magic play on CBS. Watch Michael Jordan play on NBC. Just always have enjoyed NBA.
Let me ask you, we've had discussions where folks have said, some of our guys in the group have said that, now I respect the human factor. Okay. They kind of call, a lot of folks some folks call me a homer for mainstream media. I respect the human factor because I also respect what the award is. It's a regular season award. And I understand it's like, hey, you have teams all across the country. You have a collection of different perspectives, and folks are going to vote how they're going to vote. Now, last year we had discussions where folks were saying, oh, the players need to vote. And in this year, right around the time the awards are getting announced, The Athletic released an article or released a survey where the players, 147 players voted.
Was it an anonymous vote too?
Yeah, it was an anonymous vote, so there was no name to it.
Yep.
And Anthony Davis was not even regarded as a top 15 defender. Victor Wembanyama was number 1. Yep. They put Rudy Gobert as, I think, the most overrated player. Wow. And my argument was, hey, guys, even with the players, everyone's going to come in with their own bias, their own point of view. That's just kind of how it is.
Yep.
Do you think the fans should have a vote for these awards?
I don't see why they can't have a percentage of it, but they're going to be voting for their favorite player, obviously. So agreed. You got to throw in that factor.
Do you think the voting should be? Do you think it should be partially quantified, where it's just like you put together an algorithm, and you're just going off of a set criteria of data?
Mm-hmm. What I don't like is we decide who gets extra money, the ALLNBA picks. That's we're dealing with we're giving guys millions of dollars extra by voting them ALLNBA. That's the part that's a little disturbing to me. That's why I question if I want to do that or not.
You know what? I get it. I get why, and I've gotten pushback for this. This is why I can understand the justification. Considering the television contracts, considering where years ago between the Spurs or, various teams going crazy with the load management, the owners have shifted, the league have shifted in a direction where they're like, hey, the regular season matters.
Mm-hmm.
And even with last year where they, changed the criteria where it was like, okay, to qualify for an award, you have to play at least 65 games. I think to add that incentive is pretty much saying, guys, this regular season matters. This is where we're getting the bulk of our money. So to add that incentive, and I understand it comes down to, the votes, but I get it. I get it. Not, it's going to be flawed. Maybe it can be tweaked, but I do get it.
I was surprised that I think there was supposed to be 100 voters, but obviously somebody went to 99. I was surprised it was that few. I thought it'd be like maybe 200 voters.
I thought it was going to be more voters as well.
I was kind of surprised with that.
What was I'm not going to say names because we don't try to throw people under the bus here. What was your thought on your fellow voter who decided that Domantas Sabonis should be MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA First Team, All-NBA Defensive Team? What did you hear about it? What did you think of it? And do you think that takes away credibility from the votes?
I think that takes away credibility a little bit because that factored into my decision quite a bit. I mean, Mark Daigneault being Coach of the Year, I thought that was pretty obvious. To go from 40 wins to 57, not making the playoffs to being one, I thought that was a pretty obvious vote. Shea, Nikola Jokic, boy, that was back and forth. Lou Dort, second team, first team, second team, first team. That was tough. So you see these guys all the time, so you know what they can do, but you don't want to look like a homer. So that was the tough part with that. Putting Lou on second team instead of first. He'll probably be first team next year if he plays well again because of what he did in the playoffs. Kind of give him a springboard to move him up to at least second team with the voters. But it's not easy. It's not easy. My wife saw me do the voting in our kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, it looks like you're taking a final that you didn't study for. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, yeah, it's stressful because you want to make sure you get everything right. You don't want to actually click on the wrong name. And then like that gets out there. And then like 6 weeks later, you're going to have to answer why this guy got first team All-NBA when it was just a bad click.
Was there anyone?
It was stressful. It was stressful.
Okay, you are one of 99 votes. Was there any All-NBA placement or was there any winner of the award that you were scratching your head to?
The one that surprised me, I don't even think he finished in the top three. I had Tom Thibodeau going second for Coach of the Year. They finished they were second in the East, correct?
Yes.
With all those injuries and with that circus going on in New York City, for him to do what he did and the injuries he had to deal with, I thought easily second place. But he didn't finish in the top three. Here's another thing with voters too, and everyone's gonna have their own opinion on this.
Okay. After
seeing the Timberwolves last year, I'm like, this team's gonna be good next year, and they were good this year. And so, why didn't Chris Finch, get Coach of the Year? They were up there as well. But for me, in my mind, I already assumed they were going to be up there this year. Now, I didn't know about the Thunder, but I had a feeling. And Denver won more games this year than they did last year. Why not Malone be head coach of the year? All he did was tie for the best record in the West. He lost on a tiebreaker with the Thunder because the Thunder had a better record against them. But Malone didn't finish, I don't think, in the top three.
I understood why
you have those preconceived notions going into a season. I'm like, well, I expect this team to be good, and they were good, but I didn't expect this team to be good. So I'm going to give their vote to their coach.
I understood why your coach won Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this. Remember preseason when Reggie Miller came out and said the Thunder was going to be a tier 1 team, and everyone, at least on the Twitter timeline, just laughed at him and just said, "Oh man, he should lose his credentials." Wasn't wrong. I think you guys overachieved. To have such a young team, to get such a level of production out of Chet Holmgren for his rookie year, and I'm not going to dive into this because it's in the past. But I'll also say this: considering the potential distraction the Josh Giddey situation could have been, and probably was for a period of time, for your coach to hold down that locker room the way he did and minimize the distraction, I think that was big.
Yeah, he is definitely a player's coach. I know the players supported Josh through that whole season. Imagine walking, I've said this 100 times to people, imagine walking to a room and people are booing you all the time. It's going to have an effect on you. And so when that first came out, and even when we went to California, the boos were loud. The boos were probably the loudest in Minnesota. That was pretty bad. What was interesting, though, they had a game in Miami, and no one booed. That was the first game since the story came out that no one booed. And then we go somewhere else, and the boos are back. But, he had to deal with that. And they had to, he's trying to find his way in the NBA. He's only 21, too, trying to get his shot crafted. Exceptional passer, and the 6'8" point guard, that's ideal. If he can get that shot down, he's going to be great. But it was tough. It was tough on him, and they definitely needed him. And he admitted it was a tough year. He said sometimes it was hard for me to get out of bed to start the day. But he had to do it, and it's just unfortunate situation, something he's learned from. And it could have been a lot worse, and it wasn't. But it's done now in the past, and we'll see what the Thunder do here. See if they like him.
Yeah, because he's part of some rumors. He's part of some.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody has a guy on their team probably that could be traded, and so this is the one they're going to pick on. They're going to point to Josh Giddey. And did he have a great
as a Laker fan, as a lifelong Laker fan? We know nothing. I know nothing about trade rumors. Nothing at all. I got 2 more questions.
Sure.
First of all, thank you so much for your time. I got a couple more questions for you. First, and folks, I'm sorry for bringing this up, but I just want to know. When it was announced that Russell Westbrook was getting traded to the Lakers, it's a person that's been covering the Thunder for a long time. You were there when Russ won his MVP. What was your thoughts?
Probably my most favorite year covering the Thunder was the year after Durant left.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And what he did in Denver, winning the game on a half-court shot and also setting the triple-double record, that was probably a top 5.
Magical year. 2020 game, magical year. Was it that the same year? No, that wasn't the same year. That was 2019. No, 2019 was a 2020 game.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you, Russell Westbrook, did you expect it to work? What do you think of his whole Laker tenure based upon the Russell Westbrook you remember in OKC?
I think the expectations for him were pretty high, and probably wasn't utilized the right way. And he had to adjust. He was no longer the guy. He's used to being the guy on the team, and he had to adjust with that. He was happy to be home. I know his brother a little bit more than I know him. He loves being back in Los Angeles, and I'm sure he wanted to work with the Lakers, and now it's working with the Clippers. But that was an adjustment for him. You're talking about a guy that was high level, being the guy on the team for so long, and then he comes to the Lakers, and he's got to tone it down, I guess, maybe a little bit. And then he had to come off the bench, and that couldn't have been an easy adjustment. You go from NBA All-Star to wow, now I'm coming off the bench, and I'm not used to this. But I think he's better off the bench than he is starting. But that guy, that's one of the fastest basketball players I've ever seen. He could be at the top of the key, then 1001, 1002, he's going inside for a layup. He's that fast. It's just unfortunate it didn't work out. He loves Los Angeles. And he loves it, Oklahoma City, but LA's his home. And he's always, he talks about that. Just kind of, it's kind of sad it didn't work out for the Lakers, but I know he'd like to stay with the Clippers.
Understood. Before we get you out of here, Game 1, NBA Finals tomorrow. Who do you got for the series? Now it's always fuck Boston for us, but who do you have for this series?
Do you have a coin? And just flip it for me. Can you do that?
Yeah,
that's how I think. That's how I think it's going to be. I think if Dallas wins, they win in 6, and if Boston wins, they win in 7. And I say that though, but Dallas won all 3 games in Minnesota. That's unheard of. The home court advantage did not help out anybody in the Western Conference.
It has not mattered, at least in the Western Conference
playoffs.
It has not mattered at all.
No, because I think Dallas won twice against the Clippers out there. They won twice in Oklahoma City, and they won 3 times in Minnesota.
And Minnesota won in Denver 3 times.
Yeah,
so it does not matter. Okay,
but that's how I see it. I see Dallas in 6 or Boston in 7. But if it goes less than that, that means something happened, an injury or something happened, or someone just got extremely cold. But Kyrie and Luka are playing extremely well together. Derek Lively, people have known he was been that good. He would have been the second pick in the draft, probably. He's been exceptional. So Dallas pushed all the right buttons at trade deadline, and right now they have hit all the right buttons to be the way they're at. But I say Dallas in 6 or Boston in 7.
I respect it. Hey, just to sum up this conversation, tell me if I'm wrong. Next season, if Anthony Davis changes his name to Bruce Wayne, start wearing spandex, and become friends with Aquaman, he'll get a defensive player of the vote from you?
I think so, yeah. Okay. Davis, say he first game of the year has 6 blocks.
Okay.
And then on Christmas Day, he has 8 blocks. You got to shine on those big games. The first game of the year, Christmas, those games. But I'll have my eye on him next year. We got to make sure he's playing. And if he starts hanging out with 75 games,
but it wouldn't hurt if he starts hanging out with Wonder Woman.
Well, I think that's what we all want, right?
Hey, that's a whole nother conversation. But hey, Steve, we thank you so much. We would love to have you back sometime next season when our squads match up.
All right.
Thank you so much. Very gracious of your time. And I hope you had fun. I had fun with this convo, and thank you for just joining us.
I hope to get out there.